I have no idea where the stream is going to take us today, but I'm here. Hello. What's up? Hey, Daniel. Betos, dude, 7 months. Thanks, man. You happy to be here for the ride? Whoa, my video is super blue. Hang on. That's not right at all. Gotta fix that temperature. White balance is all whack. That's about right. Oh, man. All right. Oh, Reggie, what's up, man? How you doing? Dean, what's going on, dude? Yeah, Blender. We've been slowly switching. It's good, man. You just have to get used to it, is all. Oh, yeah, I switched mice as well. Using the, oh, thanks, dude. Rasmus. Dude, it's been a year. It's been a year. Thanks, man. Before this one was Moto. And I still use Moto at work. But at home, I've been switching to Blender primarily so that I can take a break from paying for Moto. Is it Zeagle? What's up, dude? How you doing? Good to see you. Ethan, dude, thanks for the Prime, man. What are we doing today? Actually, I'm not sure. I wanted to discuss some things that were like if we, where is it at? Open. This one. So if we go back to layout works. So like these details down here. Why? What's happening? There we go. So these details here, there was a post that I did on the why Blender? Because it's free. Blue light wombo combo. Wombo combo. No, it's because I don't have to pay for it, and I can do that legally, you know. So there was a post I did the other day where I was talking about these types of shapes, and like when you look at someone's portfolio work or what they're modeling in 3D, and sometimes it's just like it just looks 3D, and you're like, why is it not singing? You know, why is it not like more visually engaging? And a lot of the times it has to do with the shapes being very geometrically rigid. And what I mean by that is, let's see if I can. So if we go, let's make like a cylinder. Right, we've got this cylinder here. That's cool. Let's go into edit. I'll just auto smooth that. So you have this shape, right? Yeah, I've got cavity on too. I think it's the ridges and cavities. That's why you're seeing these little edges here. I mean, we could turn it off. Cavity toggle. It's all good. Anyways, so you get these shapes like this, right? Let's take this. I still have to look at the keyboard with Blender currently. It's all good though. Oop. Wait, what? These are separated. Whoa, those are still parented apparently. Oh, I see what's going on. So I got soft selection on with object mode, or O, pressing O toggle soft select. So let's to get the pivot in the center there. Let's scale this up. So when we look at these guys, hide, there we go. And let's get rid of the 3D cursor. So when you look at these two guys, they're the difference between these two, when you start to edit this one and maybe like add some cuts. Oops. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of how I want to build this. So let's add some cuts here, and then we'll do faces. We'll just extrude these out. Nice. There we go. Woo, dude. Thanks for the 6 month streak, man. 9 months total. Thank you. What's the plugin for your pie menu? This thing? This is Machine Tools. This is the free this is a free plugin by Machine. Could you download the plugin that shows you? So for next stream, I will do that. I talked with why am I forgetting his name? Mr. Box Cutter himself, and I asked what he uses to show hotkeys. So he's gonna master Xenon. Yes, thank you, Atmospheric. Yeah, so he's got one that it's like $15. So I'll go ahead and grab that, and we can start looking at that. Xenon. Yes, Xenon. Master Xeon. Guy's pretty cool. He's really friendly, super helpful. But like when you look at pieces like this, it's usually someone's maybe doing a shape like that, and they're like, okay, that's cool. But there's always like, what makes this one more engaging than this one, right? And a lot of it usually has to do with these like subtle gradients and things like that. Just simple changes to the silhouette to just make it more interesting on a geometric level. So if we look at it from a side view, you can see how simple it really does get. And it's like, okay, well, what to do with that, right? And it is really pretty easy, actually, because it's just a matter of adding these changes that just make the shape a little bit more engaging. Like this one's not even going to be the same as this, I don't think, but let me just scroll this. So I'm just doing bevels and insets and moving the edges around. Which, by the way, one of the things I'm really liking about Blender right now is the fact that like when you go into edit mode, anything you're moving around, if it's faces or vertices, edges, I'm really liking that. So you press G for grab or move, right? It's pretty freeform moving. And then if you press like an axis, you lock to that axis. That's cool. So maybe if I just want to move this up on the Y, or sorry, the Z, you can. What is going on here? There we go. So I'm like, why? Why is this like this? This is me fighting the system, as you can tell. There we go. It's like overlays. If you turn overlays off, it's like all of a sudden everything just doesn't work. You can't tell what you're selecting and whatever. But yeah, so what I was getting to is like double tapping the G key, like Film Bulk is talking about, is pretty dope. Pretty dope. He knows. I know I'm just slowly getting to it because I'm fighting the fighting the tool. So by pressing G twice, you can just, oh man, it's great. Cause like, look, maybe you wanna bring the bevel down a little bit further, or the rate at which this extrudes. It's just cool because like it knows where it was before, and then it follows that shape, or it goes back over and follows this path. So it's super, really useful. But yeah, let me go back into this. So I for inset, and then E to extrude again. And this is another example of like, a lot of people will inset in, and not think about like making this look more interesting, especially if you end up baking this shape. If you look at it from the underside here, baking it is going to look like this. There's not really a lot of like lighting information that's going to happen, or information in the normal that's going to assist the mesh to look interesting through a normal bake. So what you want to do is like scale this, right? So by scaling this, you now give it some information to work with. So if you look at it from under, like you can see now there's actually some information that the normal map can actually bake. Bruh, slopes and gradients everywhere, I'll find you. I have a special set of skills. With slopes and gradients, I will find you. But yeah, the other thing that I've had to get used to is if you scale this, right? Sometimes the scaling can get kind of crazy because if you press scale, but your cursor's already in the center, it's really intense. But if you hold down shift, it slows down. But I've started to just kind of get used to being way out here when I use a tool, because then you get a little bit more of a finite control. And then even holding shift, then you can get really finite. So that's cool. And you can see this is already, I actually like this shape more than this one. There's just more going on. The other thing to think about is like how these connect. Like maybe this piece should be its own piece from this. So it's like, okay, well, how do we separate that so that it looks like they're maybe a slight taper? Yeah, so these changes are awesome. They do so much for what you're doing. Like it's a lot of payoff. So let's so one of the other plugins I'm using is just machines modeling tools in general. The machine tools, I believe, allows me to, so if I'm in object mode, if I go into edit with the edge, if I have an edge selected and I press 2, it'll turn the edge, which is really useful in a lot of scenarios where maybe you need to like change the way something's triangulating. But if you don't have an edge selected and you press 2, then it's a loop. It's like a loop cut or a ring cut. And then a scroll wheel to add more cuts. Yeah, and then if you click but hold the click down, you can move these around. So that's pretty useful. And then a double G to shift this around a little bit further. Let's go into face. So one thing I'm getting used to as well is double clicking this edge while in face mode to do a loop select. Because if you do this way, then you'll go the other direction. So let's do a... Right now, I'm used to... so if I loop select this, and then I press E to extrude, I'm using Shift X afterwards. So if you press E to extrude, oops, E to extrude, but then right click, you've still extruded, but you didn't move it anywhere. And then I use a scale, and then if you press like is it Shift Z, you lock it to the Z, like the X, what is it? The X and Y for scaling. So S and then Shift Z, and you can see the planes that it's locking to. And then I use that to just like scale inward. So that's pretty useful. But yeah, taking details like this, even just like a single bevel, this might be a little, I don't know about that piece. What about this way? It's like maybe we bring this in. So basically, you're just trying to find some shapes. And usually having one side, at least for something like this, having one side that's a little bit more dominant on the weighting kind of gives it a direction that it feels like it's connecting to. So don't you think that some of these finer details are things that only someone with artistic knowledge would notice? So this is so personally for me, I think that a lot of this stuff is what makes like players go, "Oh man, that looks so good," versus like, "Ah, it looks fine." Um, the further we can push these types of this information, the more like subconscious detail you're kind of pushing into a gamer's eyes, if that makes sense. Yeah, so okay, let me see if I can. So if I press E, right, it's extruding, but if I right click, it's still extruded. You can see here. It's still the information's still there. But if I undo it, then you'll see that you lose this pop up here. Oh yeah. Every time. Every time. Let's move this over here for now. Yeah, there is a point of diminishing returns for sure. You don't need to go crazy on it, but like when your portfolio is next to someone else's, this is stuff that makes the difference in why someone's portfolio looks better than yours. Stuff like this can stick out. And that's more so for getting hired or passing like the first glance at a portfolio. Uh, versus like first glance at someone else's portfolio and you're like, why does that look, the attention to like the care taken with like making these shapes look more interesting is more like diving into what the artist thinks design wise is a good move. But yeah, so you're asking, so me happy too. My viewport still looks quite bad, even with matte cap plus cavity. Could you show me what you set up to make it look like this? So I think this is actually default, but the reason, seeing this might be some of the stuff I'm talking about. Like, why does this look so? Like you're saying it feels like it looks so good, and it's a lot of it is these gradients, right? And these shapes. So there is, I've got the outline on, which you can remove. The outline is this outside edge here, kind of gives you this, gives you an outline. If we go to, if I'm in object mode and then deselect everything and shift or control F, it'll unhide everything. That's a machine tool. Alt H to unhide the rest of that. Let's delete those. So we got these guys here, right? And you're like, why is it? So you're asking why it looks like it looks. So we've got, we can go to studio or matte cap. I'm doing matte cap single. I really like random because then I can see which objects are associated with which. Can see which ones are grouped together. But so if you do matte cap, I'm looking at this one right now. I prefer this one, and let's see here. Yeah, I really like this one because it's got just enough information in it. And usually I'll do like single color unless I need to see where things are separating. Um, as far as cavity, I've got set to world. I think that by default it's world instead of screen. And then I've got ridges, but I've had my valleys off. So if you turn your valleys on, that's kind of like an AO pass. Like a subtle one. It's not as extreme as if you go into the look dev view. Like you can see this AO here. And that's more to do with the ambient occlusion that's screen space that's being rendered by Eevee. So if I lower the distance, you can really see like, maybe I lower the factor. So the AO isn't as extreme. But yeah, just to give you an idea, you can tell it's screen space as well. Let me see what's going on in chat. Just make sure I'm keeping up with you guys. I found that the absence of details sticks out, and it can draw attention to other flaws. Yeah, definitely. For example, like even though there's a lot of complexity with these wires, they don't really have context as to why they're doing what they're doing. But like how they're resting with each other and how they're kind of moving through the space. But by adding these zip tie shapes, which are actually stupid simple, like they're not even aligned well. Like that edge there. Oh God. I'll just move that over here and see it's not even perfect. Anyways, it's just a box and then a loop of quads kind of going around to fake a zip tie look. But that adds that tertiary detail. You've got your main detail, you got this type of detail, and then a tertiary detail. And having, like, this is a huge blank surface, right? So it'd probably be best to keep this pretty blank depending on if there's stickers and decals on it. You've got the little lock thing here, but maybe we need to edit this. So let's say, hang on here. Let's say we inset this. And I'll just go to a front view so I can move this, scale this around and freely have it locked to the, what is that? Oh, it's just a viewport thing. That line there, that's weird. Let's go to edges. We'll just grab this. Maybe we'll bring this over here. And then you can take this, and if you extrude this out and then grab, yeah, see, there's the cavity, or the ridges. Ridges are really being emphasized a bit heavier than normal. And I guess it's more so like you can see what you're building. But if we edit this, and then let's go to edges, you can do things like move this up here. Maybe instead of out, maybe we go inwards. And see how this is like, okay, that's cool. Right? That's like this interesting inset area. Maybe we'll go back a little bit further as well. But like at the same time, it's really simple. What's helping it is that this is pretty smooth. This edge is sharp right now, I think, because of the cavity. So if I do cavity toggle, yeah, you can see it's all soft. Let's go and turn that back on. But we need to grab these faces and let's turn sharp on so we can see what we're doing here. We'll just go edge. We'll grab these ones. Actually, we'll not select those. Maybe this one. So we're going to make these edges hard. And we just right click and then mark sharp. And then we go to object, cavity, turn cavity off. And you can see that this edge is still soft here. But the idea is like taking this and maybe we scale it on the Y inwards like this. It still needs a hard edge on there. So to me, this is more interesting. And I think even like if you look at it from this view and we turn the sharp off, these look more interesting. And I think it's because this edge is not doing a similar thing. You're not really feeling like it's as interesting. So we bevel this. And then maybe, let's see what this looks like. I haven't experimented too much with beveling in here. And obviously this is a little expensive because you're doing a lot of bevels. But yeah. So by smoothing those, It's a little better. I still feel like these edges are a little on the hard side. Oh. Yeah, when you're in, this is another weird thing with machine tools. When you're in vertex mode, if you select two verts and press 2, it'll connect them. But if you don't have any selected and press 2, you get the cut tool. So if you can, you just compress 2, draw, and then hit spacebar, and you'll cut that geometry, which is really actually really useful, depending on what you need. Because see, then I can grab this one and this one, press 2 again, and then actually connect those. And it snaps to these as well. But yeah, kind of going back to this, I'll keep on doing these. It still doesn't look as pleasing as it could with the way that it's beveling. I don't know if I can undo that far. Does not look like it. You can see the gizmos on the screen. You're talking about this. Where is it at? This stuff, yeah? So you can get all the gizmos all at once if you want. I'm actually really liking not having them. Panel with bolts instead of adding geometry. What's up, Jay the Way? How you doing, man? Is Mesh Machine free? No, it is not. I think it's $38, I think. Maybe 40. Yeah, my personal feeling on a lot of this type of stuff when it comes to switching software is being careful on what you change. I've always kind of been like, okay, I'll just use how they think. Maybe I'll learn something out of it. Right? If not, I guess not. Love that too, dissolve edges. So the thing about the bolts, like Jay was saying, I'm doing good, man. So Jay the Way was saying, where is it at here? Would it not be better to just do a simple floating decal panel with bolts instead of adding geometry? So I think in the case of this asset specifically, depending on like how big a character is, like if a character is like this tall, man, so if a character is like this tall, right? Yo, he's like, what up, dog? If a character is this big, that should probably be extruded in. If this is a much smaller panel, like the character's head is this big, and the panel, like the little details like that, you could probably do a decal. But the bigger it becomes, the more the trick of using a decal breaks. And yeah, and like Teach is saying, decals are not free. If you use them pretty intensely, they can be free because you're getting out of it what you're putting in. But you have to remember that decals are not free. But Tix, I would suggest using machine tools first and see how it feels. And then, yeah, and then from there, decide what you want to do. Now, the floating decals, like you're saying, Jay, for like maybe these details here, for example, let's do like this, and then let's do faces. Maybe you want to do this, right? And you're like, yeah, I want bolts here and there. And like you're like, I want all these bolts. Like these would definitely be cards, because like especially depending on like the resolution of your normal matte bake. Maybe you don't even need a normal bake on here. That's the other benefit of using a decal. So if you don't bake normals for this piece and you just rely on your weighted normals and how the shape is displayed just with the geometry you're paying for, and you're not loading a normal map for it, you could then use decals to help you get that look. For some reason, auto smooth is not doing anything for me. So by default, man, I'm so glad that I'm starting to be able to answer these questions while using Blender, because before I was completely broken. If you watch the last couple streams, I was completely like, what? What is happening? So let's go here. We'll turn the grid on. To turn the grid on, where is that at? I'm like, come on. See, now my brain's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Man, that's nice. Let me just kind of click through these. So there's the floor grid. Face orientation is pretty interesting. Hidden wire. Okay, so let's go into object mode and Shift A to add, and then we can add like if I maintain holding Shift A when I release, you get your shape. Or actually, no, you don't. What? Huh. Interesting. Okay, well, so by default, these edges are going to be hard edged. So you have to like take all the edges and then right click and set it to smooth. And you'll see that like it looks like this. But if you go to here, where are we at here? I think it's here, yeah. Yeah, if you go to the green button here, object data, then you turn auto smoothing on and put it at like, I don't know, 45, 46. And that'll get you the smoothness you're looking for. Yeah, and then you can just start doing your stuff. And if you need to bevel this and then you want it to be like that amount, and you notice that that edge is not sharp, first try using adjusting your smoothing angle before you actually start trying to force normals or force the weighting on edges, not the weighting, the smoothing on edges. Because how you can force it as well is to just like, if you select, let's select these faces and then you right click. If you shade flat, they'll become hard edged, those specific ones. And then when you're in edge mode, if you select edges, you can mark sharp, which is similar. So if I mark sharp on this, you'll see there's an edge there. And the marking sharp, actually, when you do mark sharp, if you go up here, there's a mesh edit mode, there's visibility type, so you can see what's sharp and what's a crease and seams. So like marking sharp will show you that color. So if I go ahead and select all this and then mark sharp, those are all sharp. And then if you go into object mode, it'll hide those seams or hide the color overlay. We don't want that though. But if you go in and then you start marking seams, this is kind of like if I were to press Shift R, it's like a repeat. So I'm just marking those seams. So this is technically would unwrap. So it'll use these seams when you do an unwrap, which I think is just U unwrap. I don't know if this is, I'm not too comfortable in UVs yet. So if I grab all this and then Control L and then I do U unwrap, yeah. So it's, I don't know what it did with that one. Oh, I see. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I have to move this mic out of the way. I can't see crap. I can't see my keyboard at all. Yeah, you can select sharp edges as well, which is really nice. And you can do that through the auto smoothing. So let's first let's man, that's really interesting. The seams, when you press L to select the extent, it stops at like whatever is the seam. So if I press U and then unwrap again, yeah, you'll get these guys. And if you need to see your UVs at all times for the active mesh, you do this. And what you're seeing is all these splines as well, because this is part of the same container. Let's separate that out. Press P, separate selection, object, Shift F, or Control F. Yeah, Control F to hide. So the Control F to hide is a, what is going on here? Is a machine hotkey. But normally you can do Control H for hide and then Alt H to unhide. If you blow up the selected link dialog in the bottom left corner, you can change the linked selection type. Oh, you're talking about like if you, hang on here. So I press L. Oh yeah, I see. Seams, sharp, material, regular. Yeah, regular's nice because then I can go to extent. This is really cool though, because switching to seams allows you to select with like the seams being used as like a mask or like a stopping you from extending the selection. Thanks. I forgot that. I always forget that that's down there. I know there's a way to bring it up to like a floating panel that shows up. Dude, it's super handy. I keep forgetting that that's down there. It's a weird spot. I'm used to it being over here. What was I getting at though with this? Oh yeah, you could do so if you go edges and we double tap A to select all of it, and then sorry, hang on here. Edges. And we clear seams. Now we've removed all those seams. So when I'm hitting pass through here, or occlude, you can see through it, which allows you to select everything. And then yeah. F9 to bring it up. Really? Oh, that's cool. Nice. Okay. So we've got like an auto smooth that's going on, right? And we've got no seams or anything like that, or creased edges. We're just going strictly off auto smoothing. You can do a select, I think it's edges. Oh man, now I'm trying to remember where it's at. Select sharp edges. So this will basically select the edges that are being sharpened by the auto smoothing angle. So if I like go crazy with this and make it quite low and all these edges are hard edged, when I go select, I can select sharp edges and it will, oh, what? I'm very confused. You would assume it would select all the edges because they're all sharp, right? But I guess not. That's weird. Yeah, Derpman, you know if you can get F9 to be by default? Oh, by angle, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, so it is not even looking at auto smooth. So if you go select sharp edges, and then down here, or F9, you can control the angle. I keep thinking it's tied to this. That's funny. That's some Moto mindset going on there. Yeah, there's some good stuff in here though. Some of the machine tools are freaking me out, like the mesh machine stuff. If you go into object here, let's just grab this top area. Let's see if I can do this. I think Y brings up machine. Yeah, mesh machine. You can move this into place. Maybe we'll shrink it. And then I think if you press Y again, or you have to select the object with it, and then you hit plug, yeah. Then it booleans it into it, and it's already got all of the properties kind of creased into it. Super nice. Super, super nice. Obviously, you got this horrible end gone, but we'll worry about that later. But yeah, pressing Y, magic. If you click this, it comes with a bunch of them as well. And they're contextual, which is really cool. Like these ones, it's got this little blue symbol on there. You can grab this, or can you? Oh yeah, there you go. And when you move it around, it'll add more. Just scale this down. I wonder if this will work. I haven't tried a surface like this. This is gonna scare me if this works. Kind of worked. I need to find out how you shape it to the, project it to the shape. You can make your own as well. Yeah. Control click to snap to face. So, okay, so let's select this. Let's go here. Let's look in here and we'll grab this one. Then you press G to move it. And then if you hold down control, you can S to scale it. Let's do a rotate like this. And then G with the control to snap. And then shift click that object. See, it's still not fully snapped to it, which is kind of annoying. But then doing this and then plug kind of did it. And then I guess if you did like a weighted normals, keep sharp. Let me see if it's doing all of its things it can. Yeah, I haven't played with this enough. I know there's a way to clean this up. But yeah, dude, look what it's doing. Yeah, so this is all, if you press Y, this is all Mesh Machine. And the plugs feature of Mesh Machine. I'm reading chat. Give me a second here. You've only seen Master Xeon use this stuff? Yeah, I have his stuff as well. I just I've been avoiding it just because it's really good, but you don't want to rely on it. Like, you need to understand Blender outright first, right? Not all of Blender, but you need to understand how to build and model and design inside of Blender. And then you can use that stuff to assist you with your designing. But like, I have hard ops here. Or I don't want hard ops, hang on. I want box cutter. There we go. So you turn that on, adds this little button down here. And when you turn that on, you can do like a side view here. Man, I'm trying to it's not easy. Because, like, my gut instinct is to try and draw stuff out. And then I'm like, wait, why isn't it? You see that? There we go. That's the cut. It's so weird. Yeah, I was doing it the other day and was like, what the hell? This is amazing. But I need to get used to it. Go into object mode first. Right, then box cutter. And then... Yeah, see, it's not even, it's not doing it. Let me make sure I don't have any. Yeah. Wonder if I do, let's discard that scene. Okay, we get this object here. Turn box cutter on. No. Huh. I wonder if I broke something. I mean, where are they projecting to? Oh, they're not even in the right space. That's interesting. Yeah, I need to play with this more. But yeah, this box cutter stuff is dope. Yeah, I think the main problem is the it's just not projecting correctly right now. So if I go into object mode, select this guy, and then look at that. That's hilarious. It's funny too because you can just go into this, edit this guy, and then go to edges and bevel this, and then go back out, and you've got your super useful. So we can see our shapes a little better. And you go to matte cap so we can see a little bit more. Yeah, see that? That's weird. Global, medium point. So that's all happening under. Oh, that's annoying. Anywho, box cutter's dope. I just need to understand it a little bit more. And then I'll be able to, like, oh, you can just do this and this. Like the other day, I was just sketching all over this thing, and it was awesome. You thought you lost it. Dude, the Blender itch is, it's all based off of what you see as a possibility, right? But the reality is the real itch is like, the real itch that needs to be scratched is being able to design without concept, right? So like if you look at, I think the best example that I've seen recently is Matthew O'Halloran. Shout out to that guy. He looked at mechanical design and vehicles and motorcycles and just understood how things are put together and incorporated those into what he was building. And then eventually he just started to understand how things are put together. And once you understand how things are put together, that allows you to build things in a way that makes them believable, more so than if someone was just kind of slapping together some geometry to make it right. Right. And that kind of goes back to the gear thing that I was talking about, or the little plug thing I was working on. Where is that at? Yeah. So this one, man, that save is good. So this is part of mesh tools too. So if you do Control S, you can do Control S and just go this way and then let go and it'll save. And if you go most recent, or you just do, let's say I'm here and I'm doing stuff here. If I do Control SR, it'll go back to my most recent opened file. And then if you do all recent, it'll give you a list. Where's the other? So if you do next, it'll look at the folder that's got, yeah, Mesh Tools is free, or Machine Tools is free. It's called Machine Tools. Previous and next will actually go up and down on the list of Blender files inside of the folder that this file is saved in. So if you're doing an incremental save and you're like, oh man, I need to go back, you can actually go previous like a couple times and go backwards in your incremental saves. Really, really cool stuff. But talking about like, you know, how the design wise this seems to be more interesting than like just keeping those sides kind of straight, is starting to like taper things in and get nice gradients and bevels where you want them. It just feels nicer. And it's the same as with Matt's stuff. It's like the reason his stuff looks so good is not only is he designing things that are unique and you see them for the, like, you're seeing them for the first time because he's making them up, but he's using shapes that you're familiar with, right? So these shapes that you're familiar with, it's because you see them whenever you look at photos of machinery or when you see a motorcycle, and like all of that information. It's yeah, it's dope. Be sure to check key maps in the add-on settings. Oh yeah, you're talking about for box cutter? Activate box cutters Alt W. That's good to know. I'll see. I'm already like, why? Is it because my overlays are toggled? I'll just dip this over here and then separate it, object, hide. Let's move the pivot here. It's still doing it. That's so weird. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into what's causing that. Yeah, Bedos. Oh yeah, dude. So when you go in and you actually install the add-on for machine tools, you'll see there's a ton of hotkeys and general. So these are like there's a smart vert manipulation. There's all these things that you can do. And then here's all the pie menus. But yeah, it's good. And I'm not even scratching the surface of like what you can do here. Clipping toggle, what's that at? Clipping toggle, mouse button 5. I don't have a mouse button 5. Dude, this mouse is sick, man. I'm really enjoying it. So, right, it's Logitech Pro wireless. It's got buttons on the left, but it's also got these buttons on the right, which you can actually, let me see if I can, you can pop them out. They're little magnetic pieces, right? And you can see in there. And it comes with other buttons. So if you're left-handed, you can put the buttons on this side and pop these ones off and then close those off. And it just snaps in. Oh, so good. So good. Shift Alt X for mirroring. Shift Alt X. See the modifiers. So if I do Shift Alt X, I guess it's putting the mirror. Yeah, it's putting the mirror after the weighted normal. So you see the error that's happening here. So you just have to change the order so that the mirror is happening before the weighted normals. But yeah, when we were talking about the plug shapes, there's some really good ones in here. Like this one's kind of in oops, soft select. This one's kind of in the range we were talking about before. Dude, and the way he's set it up to render, you can see like what's going to happen. Oh, so good. Then you just shift select this one so they're both selecting. You press Y and then you hit plug. Super nice. I wonder what happens if so we got an edge here, right? Let's see what happens if we start adding some other. So if we put that one there, we know there's an edge cutting through. So I wonder how that's going to deal with that. Maybe it'll crash. No, it got real nasty though, that's for sure. Edit. Can we just dissolve that edge? No. Can we go to vertex and select this one and then connect those? And then go to edge and dissolve that one. Then go to object, select this, then this. No, it's still hating me. It's like, what are you doing? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's funny. I know there's a way. There's a way. See, when you delete it, it brings all the stuff back to this location. Man, he's genius. How he set this all up is genius. He's a machine, dare I say. Yeah, getting familiar with Booleans before hopping into box cutter or others. Dude, totally. Like, while these tools are really cool, really interesting, super useful, you have to understand how Blender works. Oh yeah, you're right. If I need to turn the edge, like I can just do the, are there two edges there? What? Whoa, we're getting some weird stuff now. Look at that crossing madness going on there. Yeah, I should understand Blender first before we go too deep into this stuff, because it's only gonna cause me issues or problems where I don't understand things because they're because I don't understand how the meshes and the objects are interacting with each other to begin with. It's 9/11. What do you guys want to do? Should I build some stuff? Or just try modeling some more things? Because like the main reason I'm in Blender right now quite a bit is I'm just trying to get used to it, understanding like the hotkeys and just kind of getting the muscle memory going. And I mean, it's sticking. It's just like I need to make sure I know how to model some stuff, because eventually I'll be using it at work as well. How's the Blender going? It's going pretty well. You're learning a lot through me learning Blender? Dude, it hurts the brain. Let's texture that box. Texture this guy with Blender? Oh, you're talking about using the procedural stuff. Man, I don't even want to try and dive into that yet. So one of the things that I always say is a really good idea when you're learning a 3D package, and whenever we get to the point where I can release the kind of I'm starting 3D and I don't know what to do in our command in the Empire command Notion page, it will go from like I don't know how to 3D to like here's the packages you can use. This is what I think you should be focusing on. So one of the first things I think of, like once you've picked your 3D package, is to not texture at all. Like just try and find references on stuff and just replicate content to God level of 3D. I mean, at the end of it, I want to be discussing like how your portfolio should be looking and like what your CV should look like and what you should think about in your interviews. Like I want to do that the full loop, right? And then like how do you, once you're in the industry, how do you manage your time where you can still have a personal life but then push yourself in small bursts to become better? Because once you get into games, there's a small window of time where you become like dev ready, basically, where it's like you start to understand how games are made, you're learning from everyone around you, and then you get into this more comfortable state. And when you're in that comfortable state, you can either get bored or you start to you get the self growth where you start to do things on your own and you're learning more about yourself as an artist and how to push yourself further. And that can get a little dangerous because that either turns into you doing a lot of overtime or it turns into you going home and doing too much art, not having a personal life. So you have to like find that balance. So I'd love to have like a section in there that talks about like how long you should be relaxing after you get your first job and then what to do from there. But that loop, man, that whole thing's going to be a big project. I think I need to take some vacation just to get it started. Let's see here. Pure ref. Be my savior. Dude, there is a ton of variance from person to person, and you have to make sure that that's clear in the stuff I'm talking about, the documentation I'm talking about, because it is different person to person, for sure. You're the only one I know that writes DNO for don't know about that. Bruh. Really, for sure. Did you learn that in rugby? Let's look at some of these shapes. That one's interesting. So a lot of these are like, so you see how this corner is rounded? You'll want to do a lot of that stuff later and just make sure that you get these. This is why block out is so important, because you want to get the major shapes in before you even go through with that. Man, this thing's cool. So you can see like the corrugated metal on the top here. Let's make a new. What? Oh man, there we go. Faces, let's dupe that off. Cody, what's going on? How you doing? Jeffrey Chu? Oh. Yeah, I love concepts like this. Oh yeah, no, I know this guy. Yeah, got to give a follow. Every time I see some of that work, I'm like, dang. So if you had a shape like this, like a lot of people will just take this object, right? And let's separate it out. And they'll be like, yeah, no, this is exactly like, this is how I want it. Hey, dude, 23-month streak. Tobias, thanks, man. A true OG. I don't think there's enough cuts in this for what I want. go. I know there's a continuous selection. I don't know. Oh, I don't know how you do it though. I'm sure chat will tell me in a second here. You guys know more than me about Blender most of the time. So, okay, so we got the shape, right? And a lot of people will just kind of use it as it is like this. I highly suggest having a few cuts in here. And then just, if we go in and I guess, let's see if we just do it like this. Like I really suggest shifting it around. So if you press O for soft select, and then when you move, you see you get a soft select. And if you scroll, you can increase the soft select. And then if you lock it to the Y, or Z rather, you can start to skew it, which is going to be really, really useful. Dude, I love the soft select in here, man. It's so good. Whoa, thanks for the follow, man. Dude, advise well. I totally missed your, and Ethan. Wait, did I, what? All right, Rasmus, you hit 12 months. Thank you very much. I believe I already thanked you, but I'll thank you again because 12 months is crazy. Ethan, thank you for the Prime. Advisable, thank you for 6 months in a row. Tier 2 as well. Thank you a whole lot. That's awesome. And then Ethan, also thank you for the follow. Because you're subbed, if you join the Discord, you can get into basically the dog channel. There's a sub-only channel, and basically a bunch of dog pics get posted in there. Let's go. Where are we at here? Cavity. There we go. Yeah, we want to see those shapes. Doggos everywhere, dude. It's true. Okay, so we have this shape, right? And you can see there's a little bit of a skewing and a bend to these. So it's pretty awesome when you can get that look. It does cost quite a bit, and a lot of people are like, well, would you actually pay for this much? If it's up high like this and you can't get to it, it's going to be about maybe like adding a cut to get the curve into it. And then these cuts would be fine. If it's pretty close to player, especially if it's first person, you could totally add some thickness to this and give it that depth. Give it that depth it needs. And that would be pretty good. But yeah. Let's see what else we got going on in here. Okay, maybe I can put this up here. I'm trying to find a good spot for it. Man, that's a sick concept. This whole corner here is really interesting. Oh, and all those cables going to that. Oh my gosh. Getting way too excited about this. Okay, so let's select this guy and we'll go into face mode. Oh, press O to stop soft select. So I think when I look at shapes like this, you've got this whole piece here, and there's a whole upper floor with like a little bit of an edge here, like a railing. There's even some like detail work on there. And then there's this cut in, and then it just keeps going down. So usually I would probably bring this up here and then just bring this down by however much I think this length here is. So I'm looking here and here. And then I think I'd go to edge mode and then add this somewhere along this area. Hello. You can't model awnings? You mean like this stuff? Or wait, what? Let's see if this is, so I think how I would approach this is I'm looking at like getting this face in here to a position where I can be like, all right, I think I know where this is all going. Let's put this maybe here, and then you probably want another one there. And then you think you can bring this down. Actually, I'd probably do it on the other side too. Huh. That didn't work at all. Wait, what? Hang on, I need to see what's happening here. So a lot of the stuff that I'm learning in Blender is happening when I actually try and use it. Yeah, see, these are flip. They're like, so I'm just gonna press G and then lock it, and then I'll bring them down. But like, I wouldn't have known that's an issue until I start to try and use it. You know what I mean? So if I go, oh, right. I keep forgetting if you select this and then hold down Control and go here, it tries to find shortest path to get to it. So if you do like, you can do it in less clicks. W Zones, what's up? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. So if I were to extrude this, I feel like it doesn't extrude how I want it to. Like, is there a way to extrude on normals? Do I have to do it through this? Use inset? And then offset? Or thickness? Depth? Oh, look at that. Thanks, guys. Alt-E, extrude along surface normal. I have to try that now, too. How did I get into that mode? What is going on? You see this? Hold Control while I is active. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's cool. How did I get into this state? Is it because I'm there? There we go. I'm like, what is happening? How come? Why did it happen? Okay, so if you press I, you get this. But if you stay in this, like, the extreme inset, let's see that again, where it's not actually going in, and then hold down Control, you just will go inwards. That's nice. That's nice. Alt-E as well, huh? Let me see what that one's like. So this one is getting a bit of skewing, and I wonder what's causing that. Do you see this right here? Let me see if I Control. So this one's much cleaner. Interesting. Okay, so if we do this, we get those shapes. At this point, it's really tempting for me to want to bevel. Really tempting. Let's just, let's get rid of these. Ugh. Just gonna get rid of some of these. I'm a big fan of the end gun. Terrible, I know. Let's see here. Face, inset. Oh man, learning things. Seeing if I go through, let's dissolve these edges, and then we'll go in and like start doing these. You dissolve that one too. Shift R is your friend. Yeah, that depth tweak is pretty sick. So it's just for anyone who was curious again. So if you press I to do an inset, but you make sure it's just like, unless you want the bevel or the inset, you just keep it at the extent, and then when you hold control, then you can move it in and out, which is really nice. It's like inset becomes kind of an extrude as well. So let's grab these edges. We'll bevel these. Let's get those bevels in there. You can take these ones. I need to... Why? And bevel these. What? Cavity. There we go. Could probably just do a single bevel there. And a single bevel here. Actually, probably want these to be the same. So bevel. And get it to there. And then we just double click this edge. Oh, this is going to get weird though over here. Screw it. We're going all the way around. We're doing it. We're doing it live. And then Shift R. Yeah. Same bevel. Sci-fi. Yeah, this is cool. And then I think you'd want to take... Oh, nice. We've got these like little shingle pieces here. Object, come on. Somewhere around here. So I'm looking at this length here and this length. Maybe we'll like scale like this so we can get a little bit more. So if we do 3D cursor, we can move this here. Still getting used to this, but it seems pretty useful. Ben, what's up, man? How you doing? Mr. Quilly Willy. What's going on, man? We're just kind of looking at shapes and trying to replicate things and just get used to Blender. And you see there's some irregularities between these, right? So I think maybe we'll add like 2 cuts on these, and then we can just dupe this around. We got 4 there. And we'll get, it's okay that they're not even. Like maybe you want to maybe turn this back into medium point. So it's like the middle of like, so it's looking at the pivot. Maybe you want to put this like that so it's a little overlapped. Maybe this one goes under and then these ones are a little closer. So I got all these here. You notice too, they're a little, the building's maybe not as long as it needs to be, or this needs to fit more. Dude, I'm really liking how it kind of feels like I'm concepting with geometry in Blender. I kind of feel like it's just kind of clicking, if that makes sense. You take these, if you do Shift J, no, Control J, they'll become the same object. And then you can just, let's do edit. And then O for soft select. And let's just press W until you get the move, the cursor move. And wherever you're near will move, right? And then you can just scroll this down. So you can kind of skew some stuff. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like concepting, man. I like this. Let's go to verts. A little easier to. There we go. And if we take all these faces and we make sure that they're smooth, and then weight those faces, weighted normals, keep sharp, and we got to make sure that the normals are set to auto smooth. You should be all right. Yeah, dude, see if you needed to like lower this. Oh man, so good. And then bring this back up. So much control. You can duplicate linked to instance basically, Alt D. Alt D. So instead of Shift D to do this, you can do Alt D. And then if I, take faces here and, oh, that's sick. That's cool, man. Linked geo can't have transforms applied though, so keep that in mind. Right, so whenever you're moving it around or rotating it, it needs to happen in the object mode. Correct. So we get this grouping here. And that's kind of got a similar, there's a little bit of a rim here, like an edge, and then a drop down. See, this is why it's beneficial to not bevel this stuff. Leave this man for an hour and he's I mean, we only got 20 minutes, man. I'm not gonna finish this thing. Dude, I would love to build this thing out though. This thing's really interesting and has a lot of problems to solve. Like, look at it, like hard surface action going on down here. You better finish this, JR. 20 minutes, go. I have not had nearly enough coffee. But you notice how like a lot of what I'm doing with the adding a little extra geo, allows for that kind of organic shifting and bending. That's how you get away from like the tangent lines that you see when you look at objects that look geometric. You're like, why does that look? It just doesn't look right. It's that. That's what's causing it. We need to make this building smooth. What does this look like without the, why can't I turn the cavity on and off in this? That's weird. This needs to turn up a little bit more. And then I guess we can do weighted normals. No. Face. We'll make that flat. All right, keep sharp. There we go. There we go. Now you get those nice, delicious. Noble, that's crazy. In a few streams, Teach, you want me to do that, huh? I mean, it would be a great exercise to get me acquainted with Blender. Weighted normals modifier is great. I'm glad that they added it by default in here. I think it's in 2.79, but it had to be a plugin, right? What's going on here? What is this stuff? There's like a trim shape here. And then there's just some pieces of stuff. So that's one thing I need to figure out is how you would create a trim shape. Because like, I guess what I would do is build like a, I should probably save this. All right, I called the building full. I think we've established something there. Greebles, I'd say. Yeah, it kind of has it's just stuff just kind of piled up there. More Greebles. Nah, man. Yeah, this thing's got all the details. Like, it's a little on the crazy side. I can tell where, like, I think it's basically inverse. It's doing 70-30, where it's 70% high frequency and then, like, 30% low frequency with, like, these big panels. These are doing quite a bit for giving your eye rest. But it's pretty minimal. Like, when you pull back like this, you can see, like, it's mainly these larger shapes here and then, like, a little bit there. But yeah. So I guess in in Blender or in Modo, we would like we would create the silhouette of the shape and then just call it good. Oh, whoops. I mean, you could probably just do it with an inset and some extruding. Oops. The Control B and then pressing V to bevel a vert. I kind of wish it would just know that because I have a vert selected, I want to bevel that. I'm sure there's a way to get it set up that way. I mean, there's got to be. I'm just going to round that out. Yeah, so what I would normally do, I guess, is like go to a top view and then create a spline and then extrude that along the spline. Curve. I guess when I create this curve, how do you convert a curve's edge to not be Bezier? Even though, of course, we just selected Bezier, right? So like you've got this. You want to there, I said it. Nice, dude. Dude, nothing beats the one in Modo from what I've seen, where you can just select a bunch of edges and then you just give it a shape and it goes whoosh. Ooh. Vector? Oh, interesting. Aligned? Oh, that's cool. So I guess if you make these vector, it's very linear. And you just can't select these or you just screw the whole thing up. Let me see, subdivide. Yeah, that is true. If I do that, let's see. Yeah. Hard op should have a to from mesh curve dialog as well. Right, so if we delete that and we go and create like a box. Bring this up here. See, I need to look into hard ops for that then. I don't want to look into that on stream just because we're learning this stuff. I know that if I select all these edges, I can dupe this. Hang on here. I can dupe this up and then these are here. And if I press P, I can separate those and then I can select those and F3, convert to mesh, curve from mesh. So now this is technically a curve. But I think if I mesh deform, warp, wave. See, what I don't want is the bevels from the building, but I guess I should do that anyways. Do that and then select the edge loop. Yeah, you're talking about bringing it. What is going on? Why would it do that? Oh, because I got it on normal. Hang on here. Just make sure I don't have it duped. There we go. All right, so you got this shape, right? And then you can separate this out. Go to object mode on that, and then press F3, type convert, and then you can convert GERT. You can turn it into a curve. So that's a curve now. That's cool. The unbevel feature. Oh, yeah. So good. Well, I mean, now that if it's not a curve. Okay, so now it's a mesh. If I go and like edit and select edges. So we got those edges. If you press Y. Oh, wait a minute. Is it? I can't even remember if it's. Is it these ones? No, I think the unbevel gets weird, doesn't it? With the. Because it needs to be two faces. So it's not a multi-edge bevel, is it? Yeah. I have to read more into how I use that properly. But if you have that shape. Well, like if you wanted to get rid of that. Yeah, I'm still learning Mesh Machine. Dude, me as well. There's so much to it. It's really cool, but there's a ton to it. So the other, if you want to get real cheap about it, we can go object. We can grab this guy. Let's Alt center click on there to do this, and then we'll do that. Right, and we. So I wish when you would do this and you would go into mirror, you could control easily how it's gonna mirror. Like the mirror object, I guess we have to point it to like an empty object so that we can rotate the mirror. This is where I like Max's mirror tool is really nice. So we need to have that bisecting. Let's save that real quick. So like as they merge into each other, they actually are welding, which is nice. But if you wanted to, oh, see, this is where I'm like, why? Basically, I want to be able to Alt X for, so I don't even have hard ops on. Hang on. Let's try it and see if it's straightforward. Save. Yeah, when initiated, that would be super nice. Okay, so let's move the pivot to that. So what I want is to be able to have the mirror happen, but then rotate it so it can do a 45-degree mirror. Voxel, what is STRG? I don't. what? Okay, hang on. Sorry, this part of the stream is a little slow, but whoa, what? Oh, I could, yeah, okay. I mean, one thing you could do is, I guess if you're on, so this is top view. You could go to the vert cut. So this is where I wish you could, I wish this snapped so I could snap it to a 45 degree. So I could just cut it and then mirror it. Anywho, let's get these verts out of here. No. Why? Why have you forsaken me? Oh. What am I doing? Hang on. There we go. Curious, what's up? All right, hang on. You tagged me. What's going on, Curious? Noble's right. It does. It does. Press C. All right. First, I need to see what's going on in there. I don't know what that's about. So give me 2 seconds here. Just gonna kill those. Edit, extrude. Turn the pass-through off. Okay, top view. Oh man, my brain. I'm still trying to get used to this. Okay, if I press 2, click, press C. Yes. Oh, that's... Yes. Oh, right. But then I have to... And then getting it to cut all the way through, I guess I need to have pass-through on. Black screen, really? Z to cut through. Okay, so if I press 2, click, and then press C, and then Z. Oh, yep, I see them. And then I click spacebar. Ooh. That's good. That's good. I just need to cut the other way. Anyone dizzy yet? Agent, I think it's just you. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. Let's do that again. C and then Z cuts all the way through. That's really cool. I just need to remember to actually commit to it by hitting the space bar. That's so weird. Because technically you could do an occlude, delete those faces. Yep, edge, edge. Cap that. Face. Extrude. Why is it? Why? Extrude. Yeah, I need to learn how to do that better. That's not preferable. Use the shear tool. What's the shear tool? This is one of those shapes or one of the processes that I just need to understand. So let's keep let's look at this more. Okay, so is a shear tool so that it actually cuts it, it caps it, and then deletes the other side? So is it even like right here? Yeah, there it is. Shear selected items along the horizontal screen axis. Oh, and then I guess this is, that's cool. For a perfect 45. Dude, that's rad. Whoop. Yeah, so -1. At least in this case. And then you just grab these, extrude, and then scale on Y to 0. Edge. All these. Oh man, yeah. Of course, there's an easier way to do this where I can have it follow a pretty unique shape. It's just a matter of getting the time to do it, understanding it. Okay, let's oh no, it's 10:02. We got a few minutes since we started the stream a little late. Control Shift Alt S. That's what you're trying to tell me. I see. Okay, so if you're in top view, and you grab these faces and you do Control Shift. Why is it not? Hang on. Control Alt Shift S. Offset 1. Is it even doing anything? What? I see it moving it. Whoop. In top view, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh. There you go. Prim, what's up? How you doing? We're just learning things. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so let's Man, those shapes are so big too. Hang on. These would be much smaller. Oh, maybe not that small. Somewhere around here. We need room for the windows, right? And then that weird paletting thing that's going on, whatever that is. Oh, oh. Madu knows. Madu know, guys. Oh, man. We'll just do that for now. Yeah, this is still really extreme. It's an angry Maru right there, dude. He's like, dude, your time's up, bro. Anyways, you guys have any questions? I think we'll keep playing with these objects and see where we get with all this. You know, we'll just keep going. It's fine. Let's do like 44, and then faces, smooth. I hope this stream was interesting for you guys. I will be switching to it at work, yeah, at some point. But one of the main reasons I've switched to Blender on stream is because it allows for people that are just getting into 3D the ability to actually jump in without having to worry about like, how do I get a hold of Max or how do I get a hold of Maya or Moto? They can just download Blender and start learning. Because once you understand how to manipulate in 3D, you will get into a position where it's quite easy to switch to the other tools. And it's just a matter of getting used to 3D in general and manipulating in the three-dimensional space. What's some advice you'd give for someone about to start their first game environment? All right, this is a good question. After this, I will head out. So if you're quite comfortable already with building props, but you're scared about starting an environment because they're so big, they're so vast, right? There's a ton of stuff to do. Start by learning prop parity. So maybe you want to make a cafe, right? Start by modeling cafe props. Don't build the scene, just make the cafe props. You can start blocking out the scene, and if you're like, oh man, this is getting kind of crazy, you can back up and just start focusing on some props. You go back to your comfort zone, right? So then you build those props. The prop parity is how the props interact with each other. And by that, I mean like you have a coffee table, you have a coffee cup, maybe utensils that are on the table. Building all of those and having them relative to each other, scale-wise and theming, they kind of look like they belong in the same space. You're already on your way to building the props that are for building the scene. So once you start feeling comfortable with that, you can start building out that one little area in the scene that you want to build that's just got all these props in it. You're like, oh man, I need plates. So then you build a plate, and then you just keep adding to it, and eventually you've got your scene. And that's without thinking about composition, about like just trying to build a scene. I wouldn't even think too much about all the other stuff. Just try and get some props together that are related, and I don't know, prop like a coffee table with some props on top, and you're good to go. And you have your first scene. See, like an entire environment is quite intimidating. I totally get that. So if you can ease into it, That's how I would ease into it. You always thought AAA tended to stay away from Blender because of open source not having a decent support. I mean, it really depends. If your studio wants to support it, it's open source, so they can support it, right? You just need to have the technically strong to back you up. Like, I don't know how to program or script very well or any of that stuff. I'm a noob. But yeah. All right, guys, I've got to get out of here. I'll see you guys later. Have a productive week. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. We got 4 more portfolio reviews and some more Discord critiques. And remember, now we've recently made a change in the Discord so that nomads can post their work directly into the critiques channel and in the challenge channel. So you don't have to use ImageGrr for those. You can paste directly your images, and that'll allow people to see your work easier and then get some critiques a little bit easier as well. So, all right, I'm going to get out of here. I will see you guys later. Have a good week, huh?